there, and welcome back to my channel. So this is, really part one of my 2017 wrap up. I'm a little behind on my own schedule, but here we are. This year, I read a total of 100 books. They won't even fit all on the shelf. These are all my December books that I read. It's absolutely insane that I have read this much, and I'm still not quite over it. With this many books, I read an average of 8.16 books a month, which is also crazy, seeing as though my goal was to read 4 books a month. And each month, I read an average of 3,165 pages for a total of 3,798 pages, which again is quite crazy. And I gave an average of 3.85 stars, which is pretty good. On Goodreads it says I give an average of 4 stars, and I'm trying to maybe think that some of my ratings have been a little bit high, but 3.85 is good. And I bought 8.6 books a month until Christmas, and then it was an average of 10.4 books a month. So this one video here is just about the books that I have read in 2017, all 100 of them. So there's a couple different things that I'm going to do. I'm going to go over some statistics. I'm going to make stacks of each month so you can compare them. After that, I'm going to talk about different genres I've read, different countries authors are from, and the difference between male and female authors that I read this year. And of course, my rating piles. So, I have no idea how long this is going to take to film, or edit, or watch, but it will be an adventure. But let us begin. So as you can see, my reading varied quite a bit from month to month, which I think is really interesting. None of my graphic novels I really included in here because they were a little bit too wide. Normally I would do a height comparison, but where all the books wouldn't fit on the shelf, I think I'm going to skip that this year. But yeah. This year I read 22 5-star books, 37 4-star books, 25 3-star books, 4 2-star books, and 1 1-star book, all excluding the 11 graphic novels that I read. On to genres. This year I read 17 fantasy novels, 2 science fictions, 6 speculative fiction, 9 historical fiction, 13 mysteries or thrillers, 12 books that would be like literature, 3 short story collections, 8 classics and modern classics, 1 true crime, 4 biographical books, 12 young adult books, and 13 graphic novels. For the rest of this video, I will be excluding graphic novels because most of them have multiple authors. So yeah, on to the countries that these authors are from. I read 39 books by American authors. 1 book by an author from Zambia. 1 book by an author from Zimbabwe. 1 from Norway. 1 from Russia. 1 from Spain. 1 from Colombia. 1 from Germany. And to round out the books that I have read only one of from the country is Japan. I read 6 books by Australian authors, 20 books by authors from the UK, and 14 books by Canadian authors. These are all the books that I read by female authors. It's approximately half, around 55. And the rest were by male authors, and right now there are about 33 of them on that shelf. So, it's pretty good. The first book that I read this year was A Murder of a Cranky Catnapper by Denise Swanson. I rated this book a 4 out of 5, and it was the first book that I read in a Scumble River mystery series. After that, I read Various Positions by Martha Schwabis. This is written by a Canadian author, and I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. After that, I read The Diviners by Libba Bray. This is the first in the Diviner series, and I rated it a 4 out of 5, and it is an absolutely gorgeous book. I read 1984 by George Orwell, and I rated it a 2 out of 5. Then I read A Lair of Dreams by Libba Bray, and it is the second book in the Diviners series. Finally, in January, I read Death at Victoria Dock by Carrie Greenwood, and this is the 4th book in the Franny Fisher Mystery series, and I rated it a 4 out of 5. To start off February, I read Rue by Kim Toy. This is also a Canadian author and won the 2015 Canada Reads, and I rated it a 4 out of 5. After that, I finished Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy, and I rated it a 5 out of 5. Next, I read Eric, which is the 9th book in the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett, and I rated this a 3 out of 5. Next, I read The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. This is the first book in the Queen of the Tearling trilogy, and I rated it a 5 out of 5. After that, I read Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and I rated this book a 3 out of 5. Next, I finished Beauty Queens by Libba Bray, which finishes off the Libba Bray collection for me, and I rated this book a 3 out of 5 stars. Then I read the first book in the Scrumble River Mystery series called Murder of a Small Town Honey by Denise Swanson, and I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. I finished The Better Mother by Jen Suk Fong Lee. I rated this 4 out of 5 stars, and it is written by a Canadian author. Then I jumped into The Break by Caterina Vermetti, which was one of the books for Canada Reads this year, and I rated this a 5 out of 5. Then I read Catch-22 by Joseph Heller, and I rated this book a 4 out of 5. And finally in March, I read A Dragonfly in Amber by Diana Gabaldon.